Well, hello there. You've probably come to this video because you need help picking a 7x7. Well, I'm here to help you with that. Today we have the 7x7 mega comparison. I have 6 7x7s that we're going to talk about today, and we're going to see which one is the best, which ones are your best budget options, and which ones you should consider getting if you're trying to get better 7x7. That being said, before we get into the comparison, if you could please consider subscribing and clicking that like button, maybe leaving a comment. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it, and it helps me keep bringing more content to viewers like you. I appreciate you guys. All right, into the comparison. Alrighty guys, like I said, today we are going to be talking about 7x7s. I have 6 7x7s to talk about today. I'd like to have a little disclaimer first. When I say that they are the worst 7x7, I don't mean it's actually the worst. It's just the worst out of the 6 that I'm comparing, because all of these 7x7s we're about to talk about today, they're not bad. They're all good. Some are better than others. And so I just want to throw that out there. When I say it's the worst, I don't mean it's the worst. It's just not the best out of the ones that I have. That being said, we're going to start with number 6 today. We're going to talk about the X-Man Spark V1 7x7. Now this 7x7 is it's older. It's been out for quite a while, but you can still buy it. With the V2 being out, I can't imagine they would keep this for much longer. It's on the bigger side, not too heavy. Still turns pretty good. I would say for corner cutting, we're looking at maybe half a piece that way, piece up. Get some nasty lockups though. One thing I can say about this, and this is one of the reasons why it goes to the bottom, is it doesn't have an anti-deforming mechanism. So sometimes you can get some pretty nasty lockups on this thing, and there's nothing to stop the puzzle from deforming. You might have some pieces go where they're not supposed to go. If I could best describe the feeling of this puzzle, I would kind of describe it as like a 7x7 version of the Vulc 5. That's the way it feels to me. And it's unfortunate that it doesn't have the mechanism to stop it from deforming, because I'm a big fan of the Vulc 5. You know, speed is good. Magnet strength is good on it. It's just, it's not up to par with what we currently have at the top, which we will talk about in a little bit. But, you know, it's a little bit big compared to 7x7s these days. It's, you know, the lockups can still be pretty nasty. Other than that, you know, it's not terrible. I'm sure I could make it a little bit faster if I wanted to. I haven't put a crazy amount of work into this just because of the fact that it's not my main, it's not the top for me. So that's why this one I put here in number 6. But it's still not a bad puzzle. Given the price of this puzzle and the 7x7s that we're going to talk about in a bit here, I don't know if I would recommend buying this still unless it's for collection purposes. But of course, again, like I said, it does feel kind of like the Vulc 5. So if you're somebody who loves the Vulc 5 feel in a 7x7, this is definitely an option for you. And it's you can still get good times on it by all means. I mean, it's like I said, it's not terrible. It's just the worst out of the ones we're comparing today. And so that is why I have put it number 6. Next, in number 7, we're going to talk about this puzzle. This is the Haze 7x7. I'd like to start with a disclaimer. This puzzle is discontinued, very hard to find, and some of the ones that you can find are usually stickered, which do have a different feel, just a bit, with the internals being different. But you know what? This is still a pretty good 7x7 in my opinion. It's got some good speed. I like the magnet strength. They definitely have stronger magnets. What's interesting is the magnets on these 2 layers are stronger than the inner magnets, and I'm not quite sure why it's set up that way, but I definitely still like the puzzle. I like the feel. It's nice and buttery smooth. It's fast, but it is, again, compared to the current technology that we're going to talk about in a bit here, it's big. It does lock up sometimes. Corner cutting is about what you'd expect for a 7x7, about a piece in either direction. A little bit better than the Spark V1 there. Yeah, so it's still a good puzzle, and the reason that I put it number 5 mostly is because 1, it's discontinued, and 2, it as well can have some kind of nasty lockups, but it is ahead of the Spark because I do find it to be a bit faster, a bit smoother of a ride, and I like the magnet strength a bit better. And that is important to me. I think the magnet balance is pretty good, and I know that this 7x7 at its peak did a lot of really good things. So Again, yeah, it's discontinued, but for me, I think it's still a good 7x7, and I would put it number 5. Next, we're going to talk about the MGC 7x7. Now, this is regarded as the best budget option out there for 7x7. It's fast, it turns well, corner cutting is good. Again, about what you'd expect from a 7x7, about a piece in either direction. One thing that I did note, I don't know if this is a me specific to this puzzle thing or not. Maybe it's just the one that I have. Sometimes this outer layer while doing 3x3 will get stuck with the inner layer and it messes up the whole solve, which I found a bit frustrating. But because of its speed and its tactability, at the price point that it's at, it definitely is one of the better budget cubes out there. But given some of the other technology that we have, I still put this in fourth here. But it is a very good puzzle, still one that you can definitely get, and it is, again, one of the best budget puzzles out of the box. We will talk about another budget puzzle that can be very good if you are willing to do a bit of work to it. But this 7x7 is well regarded. It's very popular. It's been out for a while, but it's still at the top of the food chain, especially for price to performance. And a lot of people I know still use this 7x7. It is on the bigger side, but that's okay. And because of how speedy it is and how little force you have to put into a good, turn and some quick turns, the size mixed with that, it ends up balancing out pretty good, and your hands shouldn't get too tired solving this puzzle. I'm also a big fan of the color scheme. I do like the lighter green, the brighter green and orange that it has. So that's pretty cool. But again, I put this puzzle in a solid fourth place just because I do think there are a few better 7x7s out there, and we're going to talk about those next. So let's set this into the fourth place slot right here next to the Haze. And coming in number 3, we're going to talk about the X-Man Spark V2. So this is the next version of this, the Spark V1 here. And this puzzle was honestly a tad underwhelming. So it's about 1 millimeter smaller than the Alfu. It is pretty quick, and it feels pretty good. It feels bubbly. It almost reminds me of the Ouchwang V6 out of the box, which I thought was a great feeling. Magnet strength is pretty good here. We like that. I think it's a well-balanced puzzle. Pretty light as well. The problem that I have with this puzzle and why it's not put over the Alfu in this comparison is because it, again, does not have an anti-deforming mechanism. And so when I was solving this, and I tried to give it quite a fair shake, I really struggled to get over the lockups that I was getting and some of the issues with the corner cutting. And I had a few times, where pieces would, like I say I have a green piece here, I'd have it end up on this side of the puzzle, on the red side. And that's not supposed to happen. And maybe that's just my turning style, because this puzzle is really fast and it's pretty good. Got a good weight, good size, good colors, good corner cutting. It's got good everything. For me, the only reason it is not in second place is because of those lockups that I get. And I think, from what I've seen, a lot of people have the same comments about it, about how that part of the puzzle is quite underwhelming, because it really does have good speed and a good feel and a good size to it. It's just unfortunate that it's a little bit prone to lockups, and maybe we'll get a V3 that is fixing that problem, because if they could make a version of this exact puzzle that wasn't as prone to lockups, I think it could be the best 7x7 on the market. I'm serious about that. I really do think that it could be. It just needs a bit of help. I find that lockups are the worst on 3x3 stage, which is not where you want to get them. You're trying to get through the rest of your solve. You're trying to breeze through the easiest part of the solve. And so that sucks. You never want to get those lockups there. Edge pairing can be a little locky, but the inner layers turn pretty good, so you can get some pretty good and pretty easy edge pairing. In centers, I find that you can lock up a good amount during centers too. I mean, you're turning really fast. You're trying to turn inner layers. Lockups are going to happen. And because of the lockiness of the puzzle, that's really what puts it below the second and first place puzzles that we're going to talk about here. And I can't say that I'm overwhelmed by this puzzle. I'm actually a little underwhelmed. I mean, it was hyped up a lot, and I still think it's a great puzzle. And I think that you could definitely get good times on it. I just think that there's better options out there. And we're going to talk about those next. So we're going to set this here, and we're going to go to our second place 7x7. And that is the Moyu Alfu 7x7. This 7x7 has been at the top of the market for quite a while, until about recently, and we'll talk about the number 1 7x7 and the 7x7 that kind of is dethroning it a little bit as the best 7x7. This puzzle is a really good size, really good feel. Magnet strength, the valence is perfect. It goes from stronger to weaker as you push towards the outer layers. 3x3 stage feels good. Now this puzzle this has the mechanism that I've been talking about a few times in this video. It has the anti-deforming mechanism. So you can see when I squeeze this here, you see how there's like a nice flat piece of plastic for all the pieces to ride upon because of the layers of the plastic like that, which does increase the weight a tad though. You know, when you get lockups, they're generally not terrible and you generally can push through them. And that gives this puzzle a huge advantage because the rest of these puzzles that we talked about don't have a mechanism as good as this. And so because of this, you know, eliminating the bad lockups, it's got the good speed, the good magnet strength, the good size. This 7x7 has dominated as one of the best 7x7s on the market. This Alfu WRM here is very good, but I do put it in second place because I think there is one best option for 7x7, and I'm going to tell you why right now. So, coming in first place, the best 7x7, I think, is the Maylong V2. Not Waylong, that's a 3x3. The Maylong V2M 7x7. This 7x7 is actually in third place, maybe fourth place. It's fourth place out of the box. But if you're willing to put some work in, you can make this 7x7 really good. So I've modded this. We've done some Florian mods here, and we've put in a ball core with magnets. Now, out of the box, this puzzle is good, but it does no corner cutting. You know, it's a little slower. But once you put these mods into it, this puzzle is fast. It's got good corner cutting. With the Florian mod that you do, it's stable. It turns quite well. It's fast. It's light. It is a little bit smaller than the Alfu, so that is also an advantage of this puzzle. This 7x7 is hands down probably the best 7x7 I have ever solved with. I actually broke my PBs with this 7x7 recently, both my medium 3 and my single, multiple times. So I'm quite happy with this puzzle, and it is worth every second of modification that I put into it. That being said, another thing I like about this puzzle is its price point is so good. It is one of the cheapest 7x7s on this table right now. It comes in at about $20. Now that's really good. And once you add in the ball core and the supplies to do the mods, you're paying $30 tops for this puzzle, which is still better than most of these. I think the MGC is kind of close to that, but the rest of these puzzles are all like $50 cubes, you know? So we're looking at a puzzle here with, you know, if you're willing to put 5 hours of work into this puzzle, you can have one of the best 7x7s you will have ever tried for like 30 bucks. That's so good, you know, and the price point on it and the performance after modifications is why I chose this to be my number 1 7x7. I mean, realistically, it is so good. And because of that, I think it's a good budget option too, because, you know, you can still get this on a good budget here and you can put the modifications into it, and the modifications don't cost you that much. You just have to have the time to sit down and actually do the mods. And other than that, you know, it's so good. All I can say about this is I busted my PBs on this, and it's one of the fastest 7x7s and most stable for its speed that I've tried. Again, you just got to put the mods into it. Without the mods, again, I think it comes in fourth place without the mods. But the mods aren't difficult. They're just time consuming. So it's easy to do. You just have to have some time to put into it, and you will have such a good 7x7. The size is perfect. The speed is perfect. The magnet strength is perfect. It's just a good 7x7, and I would highly recommend it. It's a fun adventure to mod these puzzles too. I mean, you know, it's a culture that's coming back a bit, and I think that's really cool. And, you know, if you're willing to put the work in, this is such a good 7x7. So now, after we've done 1 through 6, I want to talk about what my top picks are, because obviously some of you guys probably aren't going to be able to go right for the Alfu, right? And some of you guys might not even like the Alfu. You might want a bigger 7x7. Who knows? So I'm going to give you guys my top 2 expensive picks and my top 2 budget picks, regardless of performance, okay? My top 2 expensive picks are obviously going to be the Moyu Alfu WRM and the X-Man Spark V2. They're up there in price. They're about $50, but they're good. The price to performance is good. At least, on the Alfu, the price to performance is amazing. On the X-Man Spark V2, your price to performance is, I would say, mid-tier, but you can still definitely get good times on this puzzle. So for my 2 best expensive puzzles, we're looking at this. These 2 are the ones. Our 2 best budget puzzles, we're looking at these 2. The MGC has been one of the best budget 7x7s for quite a long time, and it has a very good reputation for being a very good budget 7x7. So that being said, this one has to be included in your best budget 7x7s. This 7x7, the Meilong V2 here, now this 7x7 is, again, like I said, not too hot out of the box, but for the $20 for the puzzle, plus the price of the magnetic core kit, you're looking at a really good 7x7. So, there's nothing bad about this, especially with the budget. I mean, you just, like I said, have to be able to put in a bit of work. I think it might be a tad cheaper than the MGC, even with the extra supplies you need to get. So, or maybe about the same price, not quite sure. I haven't looked at the price of the MGC in quite a while. But yeah, so these are my 2 best budget picks. And what's awesome is one of your budget picks can turn into the best 7x7 on the market if you're willing to put in a bit of work. And then my 2 picks for collectors are these. This one you can still get. I would get it while you can if you haven't already. I can't imagine that with the Spark V2 it's going to be around much longer. Are as readily available. Still a good cube, but I would only get it if you're really trying to collect 7x7s, or if you're just super into big cubes like I am, because there are better options out there these days for better prices. My second pick is the Hayes 7x7. It's kind of iconic, I think, because it is designed, by Yushin and Kevin Hayes, one of the best big cube solvers that we've ever seen in the history of cubing. So with, it's kind of an iconic puzzle. I think that, for a collector, it definitely has some value. And if you can find these anywhere and you want one and don't have one, snatch it up, because you might not ever find one again. I was quite fortunate to find this, and I'm very glad that I picked it up, because I do like to be collecting big cubes. So, usually when I do these comparison videos, I solve the puzzles. I do a solve on each one. But that being said, I average about 3.5 minutes on 7x7. So realistically, it would be ludicrous for me to put a solve of every single one of these in the video. So I'm not going to do that today. I am just going to leave you guys with this ranking 1 through 6. And hopefully that'll help you guys pick out a 7x7. Realistically, you're probably going to be buying from the top 4. These are the most readily available ones. They are the best ones. These are the ones you're going to be picking from. I included these 2 because I think they're notable. That being said, I hope this helped you guys pick 7x7. There's so many cubes out there. There's so many options to choose from. And hopefully you can find one that fits best for you. And I hope that this video helps you do that. You got tons of options. Here are some 4 good ones. There's some good budget picks, some good non-budget picks. Things that you can enjoy about all of these puzzles. And that being said, this is where I'll leave you. Thank you for watching. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Tell me what your main 7x7 is down below. I'd love to know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.